what is the actual expectation of weather that you should get from that?
Oh, so red sky in the morning, sailor's warning. So usually in our area, we get a pretty big Chinook or wind event. So it's indicating that there could be some stronger winds ahead for the morning. And then sailor's delight in the evening, that's indication of fair weather conditions ahead when you're on the backside of a storm system. Typically, when you get those kind of sunsets. I knocked my pop bottle over there. Anyways.
If you caught up with my weather report from this morning, we had a beautiful rosy red sky this morning.
Oh, yeah.
But it immediately clouded over the rest of the day, but the temperature didn't change. And I was just wondering if there's a rule of thumb for how long it is until the temperature changes.
Well, what I noticed today, there was a kind of a boundary off. I'm just going to go back to my map there. Yeah, there's a boundary. There's a bit of frontal system off the coast section of BC there. So they just actually issued wind warnings for the Haida Gwaii area, actually. So I'd say at least 24 hours before the adjustment or a change in the weather pattern, at least. So that's how that plays out there. Yeah, there's that. That frontal boundary on the BC coast. So that's ahead of that system. That fairly powerful Alaska low pressure system out in the Gulf of Alaska. That's about 974 millibars today. So that was ahead of that big storm system there. Pretty impressive.
Well, we have it interesting here. There's a valley goes the whole way from the coastal mountains to Quesnel on the south side of us, the Utsa Lake Valley.
Yep.
And our wind weather will come from the west through the Utsa Lake Valley, and sometimes it'll just create a little spin in my area here, and it won't really actually affect the area. It'll only affect the people who live right in the valley, right on Utsa Lake, which is over the ridge from where I live. So we have this thing here where we say, oh, the wind passes us on the south when we get those kind of things. So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Usually, typically, before we get a big Chinook here, we get that incredible red sky in the morning, and that's indication that we got some big winds ahead that day. And usually, typically, I've noticed that's when some of our stronger winds happen in southern Alberta with those Chinook winds could gust up to 100 kilometers an hour, and that could be. Luckily, there's not many people out on lakes during this time of year because the water's all frozen anyway, so you don't have to worry about sailing or anything like that. But I can typically indicate those fairly strong downsloping winds from the same storm systems out of British Columbia that we get that nice warm wind, and it can get quite wild sometimes. We haven't really had too much of that action this year with the cooler air mass that we've had, so that's been pretty good on our end. But anyways, I'm just gonna share the link here. There we go. So Joey's happy I shared the link. Maybe
there it is.
More than 2 people will watch.
Yes, share the link. Welcome to the live stream, everybody, and I'm Joey. Hi, Tattooed Kitty. Welcome to anybody. This is when we record our radio show, which we start at 7 p.m. Frankie McDonald always shows up right about then. This is when we have our pre-show yuck, and we talk and make sure our levels are good and our lighting is good and everyone knows how to use Zoom. And run down what kind of stories we're going to be having. Please hit the thumbs up, the like, please share, and help us grow this channel, and subscribe if you haven't, right? And and give us $1 million if you got $1 billion. So that's my spiel. That's my spiel. And already we got Brandon Houck. You've been hearing. He's been talking with Hilding Donaldson. Brandon Houck is the radio weatherman in Brooks, Alberta. Imogen Cookie Bailey already down in Victoria. And I believe we're going to have Ron Vaudry. Ron is this stand-up comedian who's very fucking funny. And how to explain it, but we became friends years ago, and I've been to some of his shows, but he was also close friends with somebody who I knew very well in comedian Wayne Fleming when I was a kid. He married this will be weird, I guess, but my godmother's sister married this comedian, Wayne Fleming, and he was known to be friends with Jim Carrey and everybody, right? And he was quite the character, Wayne Fleming was. And I think this is Ron coming on. He's dialing in.
Can you hear?
Yeah. Are you calling in on phone, Ron?
Yeah, I can't get my laptop to work, and for Christ's sake, it is radio.
Hey, well, that's fine. Love to see your beautiful voice or face, but you know, we all got faces made for radio, right?
Oh yeah.
Mine's designed.
So we're just doing our rundown here, making sure everyone's but yeah, once Frankie gets here at 7, kind of the order the show always goes. I give the introductions. We let Frankie kind of run wild for fucking 10 minutes or something because
Frankie obviously is pretty funny.
Because you're first timer guest, you're the guest of honor tonight, Ron. So we'll have you second, and we'll spend about 5 minutes. Then we'll hit Brandon with the Western Canada weather and do our circle around through people, and then we'll come back and spend as much of the show as you want talking and shooting this shit. Everybody's welcome to ask questions of each other, so it's a panel. So even when Frankie's going on, you know, and sometimes people on the YouTube, even in the chat, ask questions and we get to them. So,
are you on YouTube as well?
Yeah, we're broadcasting it right now.
Oh well, I should try to go to YouTube and find you then. I can't seem to get you on my laptop for some reason.
You can put Zoom on your phone as well, and we still have like 18 minutes. You could figure that out too, and then see your face if you want.
Well, I've got you on this now. I don't want to blow it. So where are you on Zoom? On YouTube?
Joey only, Caribou Weather Dude. So right now we got Brandon Hauk with us. He's the radio weatherman in Brooks, Alberta. We got Hilding Donaldson, who's a cowboy up in Francois Lake area, basically just south of Burns Lakes where he lives. And Imogen Cookie Bailey's, I don't know how you explain her. She's sort of a model and a weed smoking.
Walking fucking nightmare, apparently.
You're walking, well, fucking, it is a nightmare.
According to my family, I'm a tremendous disappointment. It's a title I wear with pride.
Must be doing the right thing then.
Hell yeah.
Well, to be fair, you know, where you're from, cousins, you know, don't date cousins and things like that. So they have to actually judge you by your character, not by your ravishing beauty. And that's where you fall short.
Okay, what's the show again? Joey only what?
So at 7 o'clock, that's when we hit the record on.
Yeah, on YouTube. I'm looking for you on YouTube.
So it's already broadcasting on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. Joey only what?
Joey got us
Caribou Weather Dude.
That was good.
Did you say caribou?
Yes, as in the Caribou region of British Columbia. I can send you the link, actually, Ron, and make it real easy for you.
Yeah, well, your links aren't working so well for me. All the phone numbers on your links are American.
Yeah, no one's ever actually called in via phone before. Everyone's always called in on Zoom. So you're the first one to point out that.
I got Zoom here and looking for a Canadian number. Maybe I'll try it here on my Facebook with that, but I'd have to dip back and forth to the code numbers.
Yeah, Zoom's like an app you can download for your phone, and then it will give you visual, audio. It's quite cool. So that's what we're using. And through Zoom, I can both broadcast onto YouTube at the same time as I can record a segment that we're going to make the radio show out of. So that's fucking confusing, eh? All right, who's got something for pre-show?
Pre-show, pre-show.
It's like I eat my
Silence.
enchilada and smoke my bong.
Bitter,
before.
awkward silence. I've got like 3
Awkward.
pipes and a bong going, so I don't have a lot to say right this minute. So,
Still looking at the App Store for Zoom.
No.
You're dealing with the emotionally and the tech retarded here.
fantastic.
What you
Can't
been up
find
to
my
lately,
app.
Ron? What you been up to?
What?
What you been up to lately?
Lately, waiting for this pandemic to be over with. Oh, it is over with. I see. Not doing anything, much of anything. You know, so I'm living out in Vancouver now, and kind of ageist and cliquish out here.
Yeah. Yep. It rains that.
Yeah, there's so much mediocrity right now. It's like mediocrity is the only thing that really kept it bubbling to the surface during the entire pandemic. And I'm
You know,
all
there
for
was
the kids getting stage time, but it's also self-serving now.
There was that moment when the pandemic started, and I thought, like, oh, good, nothing's running. Maybe that's good for the environment. Maybe it's good for the earth. Maybe people will start thinking about it. And about like 10 minutes later, I was like, no, this is going to have a totally crazy backlash. And people just, hey, Janet from
Janet from
Yeah,
where?
that's from where?
What about Janet?
Cape Breton.
Janet's-
Janet from Cape Breton
Hello.
Originals is just showing up.
Ah,
Hey, Janet.
Long time no
awesome.
see. How
I
you
am
doing, Joey?
loving the hair.
Oh, thanks.
yeah,
I'm loving yours too.
Thank you.
Holy
How are
fuck.
things
What do you
up in,
call that?
That was awesome, Joey. Come on.
Like, is there a name for that hairdo?
This, yeah, hurricane.
Hurricane.
Oh,
Okay.
It looks like something, you know, if you spend a bit of time on it, it looks like something Princess Leia would fucking have, like when she's welcoming royalty or something. Like
That's funny.
you
My
know,
mother used-
Madala's new bizarre hairdo.
Oh yeah. I'll get Frankie to design it.
awesome.
Too funny. How's
You're gonna
everyone
need your
doing?
own. You're gonna need your own
Yes,
bobblehead.
Solid.
I bought a
Oh, yeah.
65-inch TV this week.
Oh, nice. So, have you been binge watching anything?
I've been playing
Ooh,
baseball and hockey games on Nintendos and shit like that since they were first made.
Oh,
Since the
wow.
very first RBI baseball game came out. And I was like a 9-year-old kid. And it's like the first good baseball game ever made for Nintendo. And I played the shit out of it. I played the shit out of RBI 2. I played the shit out of RBI 3. Then I had King Griffey Jr. baseball. I played the shit out of it. I've played a lot of baseball games my entire life and a lot of NHL hockey games. This goes back back to Blades of Steel. Blades of Steel. 65-inch fucking TV, man. Wow. MLB 23. It's just so friggin' realistic. Everything, all the quirks, the players stumble, and I hit a line drive off the opposing pitcher's head.
Doesn't this
knocked
sound
him out of the
dreadful,
game. He like
Imogen?
stumbled off the mound and was concussed. I'm like, fuck, this game does everything.
No, I'd much rather be on a real field playing the real game or on the real ice. Not a TV game player.
Yeah, but I'm 4,000 feet up in the mountains at 53 degrees friggin' north. And you know what? There's a lot of snow out there. There's no playing baseball right now. In fact, I just put all my baseball gloves into storage. They're in the front hall, just strewn about, not even in the bag. I'm like, I'm not going to play baseball anytime soon. Maybe I should put them in the storage room.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure you might be able to try baseball. Just make the ball black and it'd be all new game. It'd be snowball.
Or just
The
play
thing
with
is-
real snowballs and see how many of them you can smash with your bat.
The thing
Right?
is, in real life,
Or-
I'm legitimately good at baseball.
They keep
Therefore,
you
I don't
warm
want
out
to. I don't want to make myself worse somehow. Like that would take the joy out of it.
there. I don't know. I think I'd watch. I might be entertained.
Maybe for the sake of YouTube. If I
Right?
can
Oh,
find
yeah.
someone. Half the problem is finding anybody who can actually throw a baseball or hit.
Count me out.
Maybe I'll
Right.
join Benson's team next year. I got to get my fire started. We got 10 minutes to show time. Talk
Oh.
amongst yourselves for 2 minutes.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Fire.
So how's the
Hey, I'm
weather
a
up there, Brandon?
Well, we've had about 4 or 5 days of fog, and we finally got rid of it today. And I got to see the sun for the first time in 5 days, and it was a nice feeling, I have to say.
I gotta say too. Yeah, it's been playing Stranger Danger down here too. It's like, where'd the sun go? It rented
Oh,
out
yeah.
the other side of the world. Yeah.
And now it looks like, yeah, Nova Scotia could get some pretty good snowfall in the next 24 hours. So that's going to be pretty good.
And
Yeah, I
you may
can't wait
not
to get.
you may not know because that's just a phone number and a picture of a phone, but that is comedian Ron Vaudry as well there. So Janet,
Yeah,
Imogen, Hilden, Brandon.
I'm working on passwords here. For Zoom.
Okay.
They don't like my 12-digit password, so apparently I have to start over again.
Right.
Okay.
God
Have you
damn
tried
it.
Password.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Oh, and get hacked again? Again? No.
I think, yeah, there's a meeting ID at the bottom there and a passcode too. Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't have to do any of that. I just copied it in Safari, hit join, and boom.
Boom.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate all that other.
I go to the first link at the very top of Joey's page where it says link for meeting, and I click on it and I'm in.
Bam.
I think if you try that, Ron, it'll actually force you to download Zoom.
Oh,
It's going to take me a while to find your computer out there.
You can also go to the website zoom.us. There will be an option in the top right corner that says join a meeting, and then you put in the link code for that one, and
I
it'll
think it
open up
takes like
on the
30
website.
seconds to join it.
Yeah, that's a good idea
Welcome
too,
to
Imogen.
Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm getting a welcome to Zoom. I think I just registered on Zoom.
Ah, there you go.
Now I'm looking for a place to contact. Scheduled join. It says join host. Well, no. Mhm.
Yeah, I got out of the
Wait,
snow last week for 3 days, and it was just enough to make me want to have snow stay for the winter. And then all this monstrous rain came and never ended. Now there's not a lick of snow out there, so I'm happy for snow. Yay!
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I've been looking at the same snowbank since the end of October, so you can have
Oh.
all the snow now.
I love
It'd be
it.
great to have a
Brandon-
snowmobile
Oh yeah.
where you're at.
Brandon's getting more cackly as we've been, the longer we've been doing the show, the more his laugh has morphed from like this awkward, kind of kiddish, giggle, this adorable little giggle. It's getting a lot more witchy. Brandon's slowly turning into a witch, and no one's noticing this. I think we need to take a moment to appreciate what's happening.
We get snowbanks that start in Wells in October, November, and they don't leave until May. The
Mhm.
ice doesn't go off the lake till Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've
That'd
got
be
my
quite the
winter
polar
for like
bear day.
30 years. You can
You
have
gotta
it.
be fucking hardcore to live here in Wells.
Mhm. With this
Yeah,
new
there's-
Cape Breton with the warm air, I mean, we got to take all these high winds. So I'm almost ready to trade off. Like, let's go back to the icy cold, freezing winter that I'm used to and get rid of all this crazy weather.
Oh yeah.
Give us back our 2-meter snowbanks, please.
Yeah.
It's not worth the green grass.
Damp weather has a tendency to dampen your spirits with it when it doesn't have snow with it.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I mean, my snowmobile out there on the grass doesn't make me happy for winter. No.
You guys are actually talking about weather.
I know. Weird.
Oh, just wait till Frankie gets here. He's gonna fucking give you the whole world's weather, and only the way Frankie can.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that complicated. It's drive or don't drive.
There we go. Oh, what now? Drive or don't drive? Well, I would say driving is better than not driving.
In Wells,
Exactly.
you just
Is
drive.
the weather good enough to drive? Yes. Is the weather good enough to drive? No, pretty much. All I need
Oh, yeah.
to hear.
That all depends on whether you're talking to a Vancouver or you're talking to a Wellsian. Because up here, we just gotta drive. The weather, it snows all the fucking time.
If you can't
Yeah.
drive out to the west. Relevant.
Sounds like you
No,
need
it's just like-
snowshoes up there.
Cleaning snowshoes.
Yeah, sounds like
So
they're in
it's
snowshoe area.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the ski hill's real nice too. I'm just about with you again.
He's got to take a moment here.
All
Yeah,
right.
what no
Well,
one can
I
see
would-
on
I would
live
break
stream is that
well,
Joey
yeah,
is thoroughly
back
bonging
up.
it up right now.
I do not.
What our
Bong it
viewers
up.
don't know, is that Joey is as much of a stoner as I am. He hits the bong as much as I do. He just turns the camera off.
I'm
I
not
don't care.
bonging it up.
No, you're bonging down, man.
No, I'm bonging it out, dude.
I quit weed for New Year's resolution. Fuck.
Man, your New Year's sucks. Welcome to 2023.
Like I've totally got a dry January on the go.
Yeah, well, I'm never gonna drink again, but my fuck,
Yeah,
sure
I
do
make
this.
buzz. I've buzz free. Yeah, I don't know why I did that to myself.
Well, I don't know. My cat's running around all crazy. It's like he just waits till showtime and he's like,
What did I
now's
just
the
do?
time. Now's the time to be silly.
That's
So
right.
3 minutes till Frankie.
A micro SD
3
card.
minute warning. You know, he'll
camera?
just he's like a hurricane.
Oh yeah.
Down to Franklin. Frankie Mac.
Oh, you'd laugh. He sent me a message because I keep like I have such a hard time. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, so staying awake and I don't nap in the day. Like to this time of night, it's like, oh fuck, I need a toothpick my eyes. So he's like, plug your phone in, plug everything in, make sure you're not tired, make sure you're awake.
Oh, damn.
Okay, LOL, I'll be on. Oh, he's adorable. Yeah. Crazy Frankie. Oh, frick. So I was on the national news. I was
All
on
right.
the Globe and Mail. My mother gave me some land last year, and I'm trying to get somebody to build on it so I could live for free. And it just might work. I've got all these developers contacting me from all over Canada wanting to do
Nice.
stuff with the land. And I got one getting in contact with our mayor now, and it's kind of exciting and crazy. It's like, fuck, am I actually going to be able to do this? I get to keep my land and get a brand new home and live for free. It looks like I can.
That's
You
awesome.
never know. You put stuff out in the world and you hope, someone will pick up on it. And it's like, geez, it was just crazy enough. It might work.
Well, if you have somebody else using your land, then they're willing to pay the taxes to make sure that they keep it.
Right? Oh, they're going to develop, it's an acre and a half, and they're looking at developing a community of affordable, sustainable houses.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in a real shortage of housing down here. So because of that, I was watching the news, come up with an idea. I was like, and they got a $5 million grant down here the government gave, and there's 17 months for the mayor to find someone to build houses and get $5 million. So I'm like, geez, I could take that $5 million. Yeah, you never know. Who knows?
I think I'm part of this meeting now.
Will Franklin show up exactly on time as usual?
Ooh, I
We'll
don't
find
know.
out.
Well, look at this. Ron Vaudry's entering the waiting room.
Oh boy.
That means you could probably hang up your phone call.
I'm waiting to see if this actually all works. I just installed an updated Zoom. It's cooperating to some degree. It says it's connecting. It's not. We'll see. I'm not turning off this link until this one's solid.
It may not let you until you turn this one off.
Really?
I saw that two people entered the room. Here's Frankie. Yeah, it says that you're joining, but I don't think it's going to let you actually join until your phone's disconnected.
All right, well, I'm gonna hang up and see if I can get back on this later then.
Yeah, just try right away, and we'll get rolling here with the show. And as soon as you're with us in any regard, we'll talk to you.
Well, there you are, Frankie.
There's Frankie.
Building.
Hey,
So
Frankie.
I'm
Doing great over. You should subscribe to Base Guy Show.
going to hit record here in a sec then, Frankie. We'll get everyone, if you could, to mute yourselves, just so we don't have someone cough and take the camera off Frankie's face or something. And then feel free to ask questions when we have question time with Frankie. I'm going to start the show. Recording to the cloud. Good morning, Prince George, and good afternoon, Winnipeg. This is the CoMedeorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals CoMedeorology. This is your show about how much the weather sucks. And it sucks. All right. So we got a whole lineup of people for you this week. We've been trying to get the show to air on CFBX Kamloops, so I hope the station manager gives this show another listen. Hello to you. Hello to everyone in CFUR 88.7 FM Prince George, who listens to us on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Hello to everybody in Winnipeg at CKUW 95.9 FM, who hears us at Mondays at noon. I'm Joey Only, your host in Wells, British Columbia, joined with Frankie McDonald, the one and only, the famous man out in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Tonight, we have special guest, comedian Ron Vaudry. Of course, we always have Brandon Hauk, the Western Canada weather. I'm stumbling over my own friggin' words. Brandon Hauk, Western Canada weatherman from 105.7 FM, Real Country Radio in Brooks, Alberta. There we go. Janet Dermody's already showed up. She's with Cape Breton Originals, also down where Frankie lives. Hilding Donaldson's back from Grassy Plains, British Columbia, and Imogen. And I'm sure more people are going to join because that's always what happens. So we're going to get to Frankie right away and then come and talk to comedian Ron Vaudry right after. Frankie McDonald, how you doing so far?
I'm doing great so far. How's Gabriel Berardo doing?
I have no idea. What's going on in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Frankie?
It's cold out there right now. This is going to be a snowstorm tomorrow evening in Sydney, Nova Scotia. It's going to bring a lot of snow in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Halifax, New Brunswick, and all these places. Prince Edward Island is going to bring lots of snow, Maine, USA, things like this, and windy conditions. And Vancouver's getting a lot of rain on Saturday as well. And Ontario's going to get freezing temperatures. There's extreme cold temperatures in Siberia. It's headed towards Western Canada later on in the month. In January, it's going to hit Los Angeles, Vancouver, Victoria, Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, and all these places all across the Western United States. It's going to bring extreme cold temperatures once again.
Frankie, what's going on in South America?
In South America, they're bringing a lot of thunderstorms and rain all across Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and all across Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, parts of Peru, and places like this. And Bolivia bringing lots of rain in jungle and Amazon rainforest and places like this. In Central America, they're bringing a lot of rain in Madagascar, Mozambique, Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Uganda, Congo, and all those places. And parts of South Africa is bringing lots of rain lately. And there's a lot of rain going on in Northern Australia and in Northern New Zealand as well, because Indonesia's in the rainy season now. Up and around Europe, but they're getting lots of storms and lots of rain and snow. Snow in Scotland, lots of rain in England, and Spain's getting colder temperatures. Algeria's getting colder temperatures later on in the week. It's going to get winter-like temperatures in Algeria and Africa. Egypt will still be getting colder temperatures as well. Lots of storms coming off the coast of Japan. Cold air, warm temperatures fighting each other in Japan as well. South Korea, North Korea, 5 years off Russia. They're bringing so cold in Siberia. Antarctica will be starting to get darker soon because once again, on March 20th, there'll be 12-hour daylight, 12-hour darkness in Antarctica again. Antarctica will be back in the nighttime again, and the Arctic's starting to get daylight as well.
Frankie, who has the worst weather in the entire world?
Lots of cyclone. There's a lot of bad weather going on in somewhere in the southeastern United States, causing a lot of thunderstorms and heavy rain in Ohio right now. There's been lots of worse weather in Mozambique, had lots of monsoon rains. Madagascar had a lot of tropical cyclone winds and rain.
Frankie, what's going on in outer space?
There's a green comet headed towards the Earth on February 2nd, 2023. It's going to bypass the Earth. That's going to trigger a lot of earthquakes. I got major news. La Nina is fading. The cold waters of the Pacific is fading off the coast of Ecuador. That means it's going to bring an possible El Nino. More typhoons in the Pacific this summer coming.
Frankie, what videos did you make on your YouTube this week?
I did a video for it. Iowa had Nebraska had a bad snowstorm. Iowa had a bad snowstorm. Parts of Iowa and Wisconsin, all these places. Nebraska had a lot of snow.
Wowzers, Frankie. How many subscribers now on your YouTube?
282,000 subscribers. I got major news. Space Guys Party is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Atlantic Time. The Base Guys having a 1,000 subscriber party on his YouTube channel. 1,000 subscriber party on Base Guy Show. Base Guy made up to 1,000 subscribers. I guess he's been taking videos of trains and things like this, going to places just like his friend Patrick Macca. Sky Universe.
Sky of the Universe. Frankie McDonald. Anyone got questions for Frankie McDonald on the panel? Ron Vaudry?
That means Janet, this is building.
The comment information I need.
Come on, who's got a
Hi,
question?
Frankie.
I'm doing great.
Any dust
Janet,
swirls
this
on
is
the
building.
Mars?
A guy from British Columbia.
You can also
You have no
If you-
questions for Frankie?
if when you're gagging on your gagger there, you can also hit mute on your thing.
Really? Look, I just
Yeah.
got on Zoom. Don't ask me to look for mute now.
Come on, that stoner cough is the most BC thing ever.
I like it.
Don't suppress it, Joey. It's
Well,
part of our provincial identity.
I thought
That's the good
weather
thing
would go
about-
on for longer.
That's the good thing about pre-recording the radio show is we're actually recording on the 19th of January, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And you'll hear it in Prince George 2 days later on the 21st, hear it on the 23rd in Winnipeg. Any questions for Frankie? Come on, someone.
Yeah.
Frankie, how much snow are we getting?
Lots of snow tomorrow in East Coast of Canada. What about the West Coast? They're getting lots of rain in Vancouver, British Columbia. In Edmonton, you're getting a lot of rain on Saturday.
Absolutely. We better be getting a lot of rain on Saturday. It's gonna be awesome. We need it.
Frankie predicting rain in Vancouver?
Yeah.
How does he do
I
it?
know. It's a stretch. Vancouver and Vancouver Island are sponges. They're damp, moist, and kind of slimy because it never dries.
They're
It's got to
rainforest.
come from somewhere.
That's what you get in a rainforest. Rain and forest.
Sounds
So,
like Cape Breton for the last 4 weeks.
What
We
about
got
and what about the Calgary, Alberta? They're getting Siberian cold air in Calgary later next week. Is going to bring extreme cold temperatures all across Los Angeles, Vancouver, all these places.
So we actually have in Vancouver comedian Ron Vaudry, and this would be the time of the show where we introduce our special guest for the week. Ron, you've been a comedian for a couple years. Talk to us about your life as a comedian. Talk to us about the weather in Vancouver. Talk to us about anything.
Well, I lived in Britain for 12 years, so I moved to Vancouver so the weather wouldn't be a major shock. Weather's very similar, isn't it, Frankie, between UK and BC?
It's going to bring lots of snow interior British Columbia as well.
Ah, but the coast of British Columbia, West Coast, Vancouver, and UK weather is almost identical.
Yeah.
Both equally rotten.
I guess what Pete will be showing up any moment now. I just sent him a link.
Okay, there's Pete coming.
Okay.
Ron, would you say that even though the weather's much the same, that the people in England and BC are quite a bit different?
Oh,
This is Pete.
people are regional but identical. We're all the same ingredients, just different proportions thereof. Put an accent and a few slang words together, and we're all the same, buddy.
Hey,
How do you
Janet,
find,
this is Pete.
Oh, Pete Glanko showing up in
Hey,
Colorado.
how's it going?
Hey, Pete, this is comedian Ron Vaudry we're talking to. He's down in
Okay.
Vancouver.
Which was Pete?
He's sort
That's
of
me over here.
the dark, shady guy. He's driving around in Colorado. He drives for Lyft. And
Hey, Janet.
he's
Janet, I'm
parked
so
somewhere.
sorry. This is Pete Galanko.
He's
Hi,
parked
Pete.
somewhere. He's parked somewhere down by Gun Club Road, out by the Space Force.
Not
base.
today, not today. Next week, maybe.
All right, he's
Next
gonna
week,
park
I'm
in a
on
Space
20
Force base. He's got a
22nd
Space
and
Force base,
Locust
Ron.
right now. Next time I'll go to the Space Force base.
What we
Or one
can't
of
fig-
the nuclear silos.
what we can't figure out, Ron Vaudry, is what do we need a Space Force base for?
I'm mute. What was the question I was choking out there?
What do we need a Space Force base for?
Well, we're getting ready for alien tourism, aren't we?
I
They need a
suppose. I
place to
mean,
park when they get here. We're running out of places.
think
Antarctica
it's-
is full, under North Pole is full, Mariana Trench is full of parking. They need a new port outside.
Well, I
So maybe-
suppose they need security just like everyone else does to go traveling. Got to have a place for the security to set up.
Yeah, they need security against us.
Yep.
that's the thing.
Well, there are adversaries of the United States that have the capability to launch satellites with nuclear capabilities. So I think it's probably for the best that the US has a little bit of a head start on that, just in case.
Head start on the Space Force. So, Ron, can you, before we head to Brandon, can you talk to us, give us a rundown of your life as a comedian?
You mean all 43 years in this little segment? Sure.
Yeah, if you could, in a couple sentences.
Been a lot of fun dancing between the counties.
3 words.
It's a minefield with clown shoes on out there, Joey. You know what this industry's about. There's the mutation after the pandemic has been interesting. So many little indie rooms have opened up by amateurs running their own little spots to get some stage time and having all their friends on. It's gotten almost to a ridiculous level now where you go into an indie room nowadays and you go, well, 20 people in the room. I can work with 20 people. How many acts on? 18. Okay, 18 acts, 2 audience members, and they're doing comedy. It's more like a Comics Anonymous meeting now.
That's kind of what this show is like.
Well,
show is-
Comics Anonymous, yeah.
Well, the idea between the CoMedeorological report was that we'd mix comedy and meteorology, and you'd never know with the regular guest who's actually a comedian and who's actually a meteorologist. The weather is funny business.
If you base a show on the weather, it's going to get local. Yeah. No, it's the comedy scene is like the music scene. They don't want to pay people. And as long as people can call themselves musicians and get up on stage and make some noise, they're going to take those people over, say, good musicians, quality, talented artists such as yourself or any other of these guests are actually talented weathermen or artists in their own right. They're going to go for what's cheaper and easier. That's all.
It's like when the musicians they're like, well, they paid us $50 to play, and it's like you're driving all their wages down.
Yeah, exactly. The predominance now in comedy is, can he put asses in the seats? Can he bring his own audience? This idea that you collect up all the emails from everybody who ever comes to your show and send out 100,000 emails every time you visit town. Sure, you can probably get 200 people who like you to come out. But when you get people like Dane Cook who do that practice so well and commercially get very successful on that communication and marketing, but yet everything in his pocket is stolen. You know what I mean? Every joke in his arsenal is bullshit. You can't trust where it came from. But he's very smart at running the business side of it, and that's what it's grown into now. The artistry is second place. If it was ever second place, it's probably third or fourth. Now it's about it's who you know, what age group you're in, how much ass you kiss along the way. Did I say kick? Oops. But yeah, it's all schmoozing now and nonsense. I actually had a black kid the other day, amateur kid, introduce me as the oldest comic in the room. It's like, that was my intro. And I had said to him, as soon as I got to the mic, I went, you of all people, how dare you judge a man by the color of his beard? And
What's called? I was gonna say the comedy. There's a comedy drought because people are walking on eggshells. They're too afraid to say the wrong thing or whatever. So
that's a
it makes it
huge
easier
That's
for.
nonsense.
Oh,
That's
that's the truth,
nonsense.
and it makes it easier for people that don't have a filter to be creative and be funny. Because it's like so many bland sauce people out there these days that are
it,
afraid to say whatever.
woke is not so much a moral movement, but an enforcement, group. Woke isn't there to point out you shouldn't say that. They're out there now to insist you don't say that. How dare you say that? We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
approve, so we will group against you and teach you a lesson about bullying.
Yeah, mob mentality speaking up on bullying and harassment. The irony is absolutely delightful and lost on everyone who participates.
Well, it's like also that when you're working within your own threads of thought, and you've got your own little, every village has got an idiot, but now there's 100,000 of them talking to each other every day.
Now the idiots have their own village.
Yes. So
But
now
we'll come.
Bob, he's the idiot on the corner. He thinks everything is like conspiracy. Don't even mention 9/11. And they just had Bob in the corner. Now Bob can talk to Bill in the next town, Bill in the next town. They don't even have to go to their town to meet the other town idiots. They have platforms, town idiot platform. Check in here. Hey, you're right. I love Trump too. And it's all this. Oh, I'm doing politics now. But yeah, it's all this feedback they're putting on. Comedy is being dictated by a standard that doesn't exist in comedy. There's no such thing as a victimless joke. I challenge anybody to give me a joke that has no victim in it. You're either self-deprecating, making fun of someone else specifically, or society and human behavior as a whole. But you're making fun of something every time. So there's no politically correct jokes, so there should be no jokes. So where do you want to draw the line? No jokes or take the rules out of the game?
I like to
Take
say
the rules out the game.
self-deprecation is the sure bet. If I make fun of
Yeah.
myself, no one can be offended by that. We'll come back to Ron and we'll come back. We haven't even talked to everybody. We haven't even started with Brandon Hauk yet, our Western Canada weatherman. Brandon, what do you got for us this week? The extreme cold is returning.
Oh, yes. Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. But first,
Okay.
it's been foggy for at least the last 5 days. So for the last 5 days, I couldn't be able to see my neighbors or anything like that, or even the front of the driveway for 5 days straight. So I just didn't bother wearing pants for 5 days. So I was pretty much okay with that. And we've actually saw the sun today. That was like, it was like, hallelujah, the sun showed up today. So great weather ahead of us for the next couple of days. We do have a system coming through on Saturday here in Alberta, which will be a cold front Saturday night into Sunday. That could bring us a pretty good little blast of snow, probably about 2 to 5-ish centimeters of snow. And we could see the winds gust about 70 to 80 kilometers an hour. So that could produce blowing snow, reducing that visibility. So that's going to be a lot of fun into Sunday across parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan. That Clipper system will continue to push its way towards the eastern part of the country as we go into next week. And then for next week, we've got some uncertainty with the kind of a bouncing around with the temperatures, a little blast of snow here, a little blast of snow here, and we'll see temperatures kind of staying above average for the most part of next week. And then we'll have to watch towards the end of next week. Lots of uncertainty with this Arctic plume that's going to be wanting to dive in from Siberia here, where they've had temperatures in the minus 60s this last week here. So it's going to take its sweet little time, but looks like the northern part of the province will start seeing that cold Arctic air moving in by the end of next week. And eventually, as we get towards the end of as we get towards the end of January into the beginning of February, we will start seeing some of that colder air work its way down into the rest of Alberta and the southern prairies here. And it looks like it's going to be a cold start to the month of February, which will be a lot of fun. And I heard Pitbull's birthday was this week, so I bet he was probably celebrating with his brothers. Rottweilers and Chihuahuas.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Prince George forecast, Brandon, for the next week, I mean, I had to double check to make sure I wasn't looking at Hawaii. I mean, this is some warm weather. Saturday, 1 degree, a little bit of snow. Sunday, -3. Monday, 0. Tuesday, -1. -1 on night. Maybe down to -7 on Tuesday night. But I mean, really, this is a nice forecast. So are we going to see much of that cold, do you think, Brandon, in BC?
Well, for British Columbia, I think I think most of the cold's going to be onto the prairies this time around, especially as we go through next week. Looks like BC should be kind of right around the freezing mark for a change. So it will cool down eventually, and we'll have to watch as we get towards the beginning of February for that colder surge of air to drop in from the north here. But especially Manitoba, they're going to get into that colder Arctic air as we go towards the end of next week with those as I switch models here, taking a look at the GFS here, we could be -20s to -30s by the end of next week in Winnipeg. Woo!
Yes, well, for sure on Monday it'll be -7, and by Wednesday, CKW listeners will be sitting at -16. So that drop is coming for you, and I think BC will feel the influence of the cold. I just don't know if we're gonna get the cold snap like we had last time. And I mean, that remains to be seen, of course. Anything else, Brandon Hauk?
Not that I can think of yet, but I'll pop back on here if I can think of something else.
Hilding, you got a quick rundown for us on Grassy Plains, British Columbia.
Well, like you've been saying, it's been basically way milder than we usually expect for January, the whole month. I mean, it's been right around freezing. We had maybe 3 days where it was -8, and beyond that we've had, like today was -3, and it was the coldest day we've had for a week. So now this morning there was a big red rim to the sky here, and that usually means there's a wind cycle moving in. Brandon and I were talking about it earlier, and he pointed out that there's a big cycle in the Bay of Alaska just straight west of us here. And I think it's blowing in through the Utsa Lake Channel into central BC, blowing some warm air in. And it may blow that cold air flow from Siberia, just keep it away from us. That's what I think.
It may blow the cold away. Building, stick around. Pete, what's the weather in Colorado like right now?
It is currently 19 degrees. It snowed the other night, and I am near downtown, and in the neighborhoods here, it is still very much icy road. And I was
I think your hands on the mic, because I can't actually hear what you're saying.
Oh, let me get back in my car. My car's on the car audio, but I would say that's 19 degrees Fahrenheit. It snowed not last night, but the night before. I drove through that. It was blizzarding for a good bit, and there were a lot of flights canceled yesterday and the day before. A lot of people put up in hotels with Lyft and hotel vouchers, and it's been a cold few days. Maybe not by Canada standards, though. Definitely for out here. So it'd be brr.
Well, you're definitely having it colder than we have in BC.
Yeah. And people been chilling and staying warm out here, which is good. And
so next week you're gonna go to the Space Force base.
Weather, is that
yeah, I'll go to the Space Force base, or maybe the nuclear silos.
Ron's got a question for you, Pete.
Yeah, is Vancouver's weather so boring it doesn't get mentioned much?
Does what?
Is Vancouver's weather so boring it's not worth mentioning much?
Well, we'll come back around to you in a second.
Here in Colorado, I haven't heard
in Vancouver
Canada mentioned besides Frankie. People know Frankie.
Since the cold air setting for Vancouver again, there could be a chance of more snowstorms in Vancouver. There could be more rain. There's a possible major earthquake in Vancouver anytime soon.
What's it been like for you, Imogen?
Rainy. Last night it got to -2, so this morning everything was frosted over. For the most part, it's been actually more clear and crispy, little bits of rain here and there. and then lots of frost, so everything was damp. It's like walking on a frozen sponge. It's just wet and crunchy.
Vancouver's weather is so easy. Ask me what Vancouver's weather is today. I'll tell you. Gray, cloudy, chance of rain. Ask me what it is tomorrow. Gray, cloudy, chance of rain. Ask me the next day. It gets better.
What about
Yeah,
next
just-
week?
Yeah.
Just somehow stays the same level of wet. The rain pours constantly. Like it's always damp, but like the water levels never go up. Nothing builds because it's a damn sponge.
I'm surprised
live in
it's
a
not
sponge.
going up. There's so much sponginess. They should be pissing out of the earth going back to the sky at this point.
The only person we haven't talked to before we come
I
back
just
around
found
and
out
have our-
Janet was on the CBC News. Janet was on the news.
Janet Dermody from Cape Breton Originals. You were on the CBC News.
I was. So I was on the news because I have some inherited land from my mother, and I'm looking for someone to develop affordable, sustainable housing on my land. So I made national news in looking for developers to come and build on my 1.5 acre waterfront property. So I live I live nowhere near my land, but I have land, and I need a home put on it. So build me a home and build 10 more homes for other people for free. Yeah. Foolish
And the
dreams
weather-
just might become reality. Who knows?
The weather in Sydney, Nova Scotia isn't that much different than Vancouver's.
Sounds the same.
Oh, yes, it is.
I don't know. It's wet. The ducks are out in the yard. They're swimming in the puddles. I haven't had to scrape my car all year.
Actually,
It's-
times in Nova Scotia, you gotta look for your car with a hockey stick poking it in the snow. It's not the same. as
Yeah.
Vancouver.
About a decade ago.
We're part of the wind funnel of the St. Lawrence Seaway.
Yeah.
You and Montreal have the two worst heavy snow years anybody else in Canada.
And now we need to buy snow. It's like, do you have any for sale? We need it.
Oh, the winds are shifted. They'll be back.
Yeah, Frankie says we're getting snow tomorrow, so I'm getting the snowmobile gas ready.
Nova Scotia weather is nowhere near BC coastal weather. Nowhere near the same. Does it
Well,
rain in
here-
rainy seasons? Yeah. but
That
it's
means
nowhere
that
near the same.
down California, they're getting Santa Ana winds in California. This Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to bring a lot of fires in Southern California.
Frank, what's the hottest it's ever been in Nova Scotia? What's the hottest it's ever been in BC?
For Lytton, BC, British Columbia was 48 degrees Celsius, July 2021.
Whoa.
The fire destroyed the entire town of Lytton.
What's the coldest it's ever been in Vancouver?
So below minus 10 degrees Celsius in Vancouver.
What was that? How cold was it?
Well below minus 10 in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Well below 5 Celsius. That's not even like a nice day in Halifax or Montreal or Winnipeg.
And Vancouver's getting more snow soon because polar vortex is coming all the way from Siberia. It's headed for British Columbia, and real cold air is going all the way down to Los Angeles as well.
All right. Well, I'd rather carry an umbrella than a shovel. So I think I'm in the right place.
But they get earthquakes in Vancouver.
All right.
Thing is,
bring it
you don't
here,
actually have to
stuff,
carry
little
a shovel
stuff.
though. You just
People know.
you use it at your house and then you leave it there. You don't
You have
carry
to
a
have
shovel.
And you have to have your earthquake kit ready.
Do you
People in
ever get
Vancouver-
earthquakes in Nova Scotia?
1929 in November.
Okay.
People of Vancouver, they can't escape major earthquakes forever, can they, Frankie?
They can't escape from major earthquakes forever.
How about another 40 years?
It's going to happen anytime soon.
Anytime soon, Frankie says.
I wouldn't worry about the fault lines along the coast. Keep an eye on Yellowstone. When that fucker burps, we're all gone.
What do you think, Frankie? What's going to happen first? Major earthquake in Vancouver or Yellowstone major eruption?
Major earthquake in Vancouver will happen first, then Yellowstone major eruption after that.
People in Vancouver can't escape major earthquakes forever.
So I guess the only safe place on the planet is
That
just
means and I heard that tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Base Guys having a 1,000 subscriber party.
Right. Do you have an earthquake preparedness kit, Ron? Ron Vaudry, do you have an earthquake preparedness kit?
Yeah, they're called my legs. Get away from the tall buildings. They're trying to destroy the tall buildings. Stay away from them. It's an earthquake zone. Oh, this is great till 8.2. Well, the big one's going to be a 9 or a 10. So thanks for building them. So
What happens if Vancouver gets a magnitude of 10? What's that mean?
that means there's not enough rescue crews in the entire country to help out a major city when the buildings go down. So
Yeah, I think
you
it's
guys
US
out there in the
Army.
country, keep rocking. You're the future of the universe.
They have to get the army. They have to get the army from other countries.
Hey, they're always going to need to know the weather. So when the post-apocalypse comes, buddy, you still got a job. People need to know the weather. Gotta know which way the zombies
Anyway,
blow.
they got a Salvador top seat fault in Salvador, Norway, just in case the apocalypse happens.
Norway's still saving seeds. You're right.
No,
Where did it go? Greenland or Iceland? I remember when the
My
storm-
first reaction to that was we couldn't have picked a place where things actually grow.
Hey, when the earth shifts, Canada's going to be one huge fruit belt all the way up to Ellesmere Island. So
Yeah, maybe, eh?
either way in the shift, we got a lot of Greenland left over. Laugh at us now. Watch all the Americans suck up to our cool border.
Oh, hell no. That'll be a cool day at hell as Americans start migrating north to Canada.
People are.
For visiting,
People
maybe.
are. People have
Hey,
ran
Well, they're
into
out there
Canada in the
mine.
last 5 years.
Visiting for
I've
draft,
had enough
for water
winter in
rights.
Colorado here for a lifetime. That's oh,
But make no mistake, those pipes are to take our water, not our oil. They want our water. It's like a soy and green story. You can reset those pipes and all our water is theirs. Anybody watching the water? Supposed to be a funny
People would-
weather show, right?
Well, no, it's the truth. I was gonna, even before you said that, I was going to say that.
Falls on your land. It's still their water apparently. The weather.
Now, one of the biggest sources of immigration in Canada is Americans.
Yeah, of course. They love it up here. It's like an angry Disneyland with no guns.
I found it. A lot of students from India and Pakistan are moving to Sydney, Nova Scotia from school.
Stick to the
They
weather.
They are not used to our weather, are they, Frankie?
A lot of them are coming here to go to school.
A lot of them are coming here to avoid the draft.
draft. Oh,
They
History
were on the verge
repeating.
of pulling one.
Well, I gotta tell you right now, from the ones I've seen, if they were in the war, they wouldn't last long.
Well, I don't know.
They're
Canadian
little
units
tiny
do
things.
pretty
They're
good in
too
these
small.
things. You know, we're the best peacekeepers in the world, our army. Nobody messes with Canadians.
No, we were the shock troops. That's what they called us there. And Farley Mowat, who he was, Frankie, you're a little bit windy. I might have to mute you.
But when the coup takes place, they come to Canada. It's a nice place to raise their exiled family.
So I grew up in Hastings, Prince Edward, and that's where the Hasty Peas Regiment is from. And that's where Farley Mowat was part of the Hasty Pea Regiment. And they went through Italy, kicking a whole bunch of butt. They were the most decorated Canadian infantry unit in World War II. And they intercepted, because Farley was actually in intelligence, they intercepted some German intelligence, some papers on a dead guy kind of thing. And it said, we are being engaged by Canadian stormtroopers who are well trained in mountain fighting. And these were all a bunch of farmers and native guys from the Bay of Quinte, Ontario, right? They weren't trained in mountain fighting.
Oh, they're trained in Canadian environment. You know,
Well,
they,
it's true.
they send American soldiers to train in our tundra every year, and they always lose 2 or 3 to the cold.
You want to get tough? Come live in Wells for a while. You got to be nuts to like it here.
Wells. It's a little Shangri-La in the middle of those crazy highways.
Yeah, Ron did a comedy night here. What was it like, you think?
It was worth the drive up, and even worth the scary drive down. But yeah, it's a very cool little community. I love the way everybody like closed their eyes, put their hand in their bag, pulled out a color, and they have to paint their house that way. It's a beautiful idea for a town.
It's more or less that way. It's got that East Coast kind of paint scheme, eh?
Yeah, it's like have a town painting on acid, everybody. And
Coast painting theme. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's got more colors on a road than a Portuguese fishing village. You know, it's
You mean
very
like my
brightly colored. I noticed. By the way, you can sell 2 or 3 homes alone on that hairpiece.
We're still trying to figure out what to call Janet's hairdo.
The hurricane.
It's the hurricane.
Yeah, it's lifted in a natural sense and clipped into place naturally. The bob is held on its own tension. I think that was there. But either way, it'll make a good cartoon version of you as well.
I always thought the word hurricane was really sexist.
It's a scarf too, so hey.
Like they could have called it a himicane.
Yeah, see?
Hurricane.
Sure.
Keep an element of the weather in this conversation at all times, can we?
But the hurricanes get real wet, so it makes sense.
Solid point, Pete. Pete for the win on that one.
Thanks.
Are you going to give Neil Young a mention on that? Thought the musician would jump in there. Thank you, Joey, for leaving Neil Young hanging in the wind when you're talking metaphors for hurricanes.
Well, that's when I throw in my "Here Comes the Story of the Hurricane" sound clip that I use every time we mention the word hurricane.
Yeah, it's like Pee Wee Herman's word of the hey! We should all flip out when somebody mentions hurricane.
Today's magic word is hurricane. You know what to do when you hear the magic word? Scream real loud.
Hey, for any extreme weather anywhere in the planet, say down the Kansas way, Cuba, anything? Frankie gone? Okay. I thought he'd know about hurricane.
Oh, he's muted right now.
Extreme weather on the planet, like typhoons, like Super Typhoon Tiff back in the 70s, and extreme smallest typhoon.
More of a tropical thing.
Cyclone Tracy that hit Northern Australia back in the 70s.
Not monsoons, but what's the other one?
When does hurricanes season return, Frankie?
June 1st, 2023.
Nobody's playing, Joey.
No one's playing. Come on, guys.
Is it gonna be a mean hurricane season this year, Frankie?
La Nina is fading away off the coast of Ecuador. That means the Pacific waters off the coast of Ecuador is warming up because La Nina is fading.
So does that mean there's gonna be strong hurricanes this year? Probably.
It's gonna be stronger hurricanes in the Pacific, like typhoons in Tokyo, Japan, Kyoto, Japan, Osaka, Japan, Sapporo, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, Russia, and China, Vietnam, Laos, and Singapore, Philippines, and Thailand, and Hong Kong, and Guam, and all these places, and Osaka, Japan, Okinawa, Japan as well.
Oh my God, in Japan.
Oh, they're gonna have to start getting prepared now.
It's still the
hurricane. Might even get hit by a typhoon, or 5 Sakura might even get hit by a typhoon as well.
Do you think they should be prepared, Frankie?
Yes, they should, but they don't speak English. They speak Russian over there.
You should learn how to say "be prepared" in every language, Frankie.
And did you hear what's going on in Ukraine when Marko Senikov is?
Only news I've heard out of there is bad news. Not a whole lot of good news. I got a Ukraine colored vape pen today or yesterday.
That is good news.
Yeah, that is good news.
Tell me more about your vape pen. It's a
Do
refreshing
more to
change
support
from
the
your thing.
Ukrainian cause by smoking out of a Ukrainian colored vape pen, everybody.
Blue raspberry lemon, 5% nicotine, Escobar's pastel cartel.
It doesn't even have
Pastel
marijuana in it.
cartel is no, no. They I got this one. Is also Escobar's pastel cartel. Slushy.
It's a great name.
Yeah, they're popular out
Okay.
here. They got them all over different places.
There's your
Pastel
rundown
cartel
on vape
Escobars.
pen.
They're pretty good for as far as disposables go. They're that top shelf quality. Though economically, it's probably a good idea to get a refillable for those vapors out there.
Well, there's nothing beats the economics of picking butts off the ground.
Yeah, here's a,
Classics never die.
here's the thing.
I-
Why does a bottle of vegetable oil and a drop of chemicals cost the equivalent to a package of cigarettes, which is taxed at 800% margin? Why is that syntax allowed to make a $2 product $20-something by tax? Who's explaining?
20 some of the dollars in Canada, but yeah, I'm from Virginia, the land of tobacco, so
Well, yeah,
prices gone up there, but
cost
it
very
ain't
little.
$20.
Cost very little. Yeah.
When I was in Mexico, the other week, I believe it was I forgot exactly how many pesos, though it was like the equivalent to $3 for a pack of cigarettes, name brand, and they also can have ones that are banned in the United States, like the Camel Crush style ones that have like blueberry and lemon and other type of flavors in them.
So I don't know how much university radio wants us to be talking about smoking, anyways. So
Oh, I don't recommend it. I quit smoking,
let's
so
get
I
off the
walked
nicotine
a half a day.
conversation.
Oh,
It's making me want a cigarette.
Just say no to tobacco.
Don't be weak.
just learn to submerge yourself in normal society where you can talk about tobacco without making your weakness everyone else's fault. You know,
Hey, that's a great point. I like you.
I'm all for everybody not smoking. The evidence is in, there's no more doubt. But why is every cent being made in exploitative taxes being used against the smoker instead of helping the smoker? Case in
I
point,
agree with you there. I agree with you there.
As soon as America beat them in the Supreme Court, would prove beyond a shadow of a doubt they knew it was addictive, they knew it was harmful, they lied about it and sold it anyways. Each and every state in America passed a law saying that they will sue the tobacco companies on behalf of the people, you losing your right as the victim, being taken by the state. And every state, 500 million, 800 million, they win in these lawsuits. And less than 1% of it goes into anything to do with helping people quit smoking.
I say let people smoke or not smoke and put all of it into cancer research. I saw a bumper sticker the other day that says cancer cures smoking. And I was like, that's brazy. That's like offensive to people who've lost family members to cancer. I drove a cancer patient yesterday that was airlifted the other week, and his connecting flight was canceled. He was put up in a hotel with a voucher, but I'll say put that money into cancer research. The stop smoking campaigns, honestly, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but every time you see a mention of a cigarette when you're a cigarette smoker, that's like, oh, I do got cigarettes on me where I need to go buy.
I
a pack of
really want to
cigarettes, or I'm gonna
change the
smoke a
damn
pack of
conversation
cigarettes.
because I'm probably going to edit a lot of this out because we're trying to make a radio show. We're trying to get CFBX Kamloops to take our show on and not talk about goddamn cigarettes.
All right, which way the cow's facing Saskatchewan will tell you which way the weather's blowing. Up at 10 o'clock. We have a worldview. I don't know.
We're having an intellectual conversation, though.
I know, but I just like I don't want to spend the last 20 minutes of the show talking about cigarettes.
Well, which way
I
we
like
wanna
Ron's
go.
point. I just don't want to get into long conversation about.
No, that's fine. It's your show.
Yeah, I agree with Ron's point. I just don't want to drag it out past that. Somebody's got something better to talk about. I know.
Sure. I've solved homelessness in Vancouver. If anybody wants to listen. Okay, that's not where we're going either.
All right,
Yeah,
fun story. I made a video about paving. Now, I made the video about paving because it just finished putting about 5 centimeters of snow on the ground and the rain was going for half an hour. So we had a nice slushy base. Who paves with 5 to 7 centimeters of slush while it's heavy raining before a rainfall warning? Who does that? Oh,
Well, you made
our
the video.
municipality. Our municipality does that. So I posted the video, and then all of a sudden, every person that paves we all pave in the rain. I'm like, but our roads are falling apart. But it's okay to pave in the rain. I'm like, no, it's not okay to pave in the rain. So all these shitty companies that pave in the rain were trying to say how great their jobs are, and they can do a good job in the rain. So I went out 4 hours later and showed all these rocks. I'm like, well, why didn't you just leave it gravel until the sky was dry? Oh, it's okay to pave in the rain. We've got this temporary pavement. I was like, well, they got this other stuff called gravel. It's also temporary and it doesn't require any pavement or slickery stuff. Oh no, it's safe. So when I went back, all the pavement turned into gravel. But at this point, guess what kind of gravel it was now?
Big, chunky, hard blocks of pavementy chunks.
Of slippery, coated gravel. So they thought that was safer than just the raw gravel. Because I mean, I'm just a woman. What do I know?
It's safer for their bank account. Come on. That's what
Right?
it's safe for, because they
Well, I
can
mean-
bill for the repairs for unseen circumstances, unforeseeable elements.
They get to keep people on high pay up at Fort McMurray, but mining a bunch of tar to put out in pavement. It's about the
Oh,
Oh
size.
yeah, the pavement company gets a better, higher contract than if they just put down some gravel. Look at that, what politics about?
Well,
They
yeah.
can maximizing the
They're paving the
Contract.
roads, which is paid for by the city. And when the city
Contracts.
says we're creating jobs, they're literally just creating redundant
It
tasks.
was
that,
the city.
yeah,
It was the city that did it. So
yeah.
So the city did it, and then I had it was at the bottom of a hill. So then I got all the community, the guys that do paving. Well, you can't leave just gravel there. It's dangerous. I'm like, it's dangerous. I'm like, it's a
No,
hill.
it isn't.
I said, do you think there's no dirt roads on this island that don't have pavement, period? Oh, well, they couldn't comment on that because, I mean, it's true. And then this other factor, didn't your vehicle have brakes? And then they couldn't fathom that either. It's like, well, don't talk about brakes. Like
Way
that.
more than half of Canada is gravel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they tried to make me look like the stupidest woman in Canada for calling them dummies for paving on top of slush while it was heavy raining. But I was the
So
dummy.
what you're saying it was
Clearly,
the
you're an
city's
idiot.
what you're saying is it was the city's asphalt.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're tuned into the CoMedeorological report on C for 88.7 CKW 95.9 FM, and we got all the bad punchlines.
Don't pave in the rain or slush and snow.
Well, what makes me laugh is the fact that they're so scared. They're telling farmers not to drive a tractor that leaks oil, or machinery that works in the bush. They're not allowed to leak any oil, or they're trying to make them use vegetable oil. And then you turn around and they say, oh, but the roads are exempt from that. Have you ever walked down a road when it's raining? The water
Right.
running off the road is like a rainbow.
Yep. Pure oil slick. It's okay if the government does it. It's okay if it's paid for by the government because they're doing it for everyone's best interest.
Yeah.
However, if standard business operations require a little bit of something, a fraction of what happens at the federal level in your neighborhood, oh, it's your fault.
Clearly, if they do
Because
it,
you make
everyone
the
should.
rules.
Common sense and politics don't mix.
No.
No. And don't argue with people about paving in the snow on top of slush.
You guys are so political. I don't know about this conversation.
What does cement and asphalt mix? Oh, that was a bad one. Never mind.
Okay,
Super.
next topic.
What should we fill this pot?
You're the host,
with?
Joey. Throw one out there.
So whether
I
we're-
like just seeing what kind of weird things you guys come up with sometimes.
Well, I think your baseball thing, you really got to get your kids out there and get some snowshoes on and try and play a game in the deep snow, because I haven't seen it before and it'd be new. Paint your ball different color, you know, not white, and then give it a try. You might like it.
Janet Dermody wants me to play baseball in the snow and make
With
a
Well,
YouTube
we
snowshoes?
can get out of the house for a few hours.
Yeah.
No way.
You can paint your bases on top of the snow.
I think I'm just gonna keep playing on my 65-inch TV I got this week.
Everybody does it like that.
I
That
spent
just
a
sounds boring.
I spent a lot of my life doing physically insane things.
Sounds right up your alley.
Time, and I'm hibernating, and I'm okay with that.
I suppose.
You were always a mountain kid, weren't you?
No, I grew up in Ontario, but I grew up sort of near Bancroft, north of Madoc, swamps.
Well, have you been in the Highlands longer than you've been in Ontario?
Well, I bought the place here with Josh in 2009, so we've been in Wells a long time now.
And you left the band in March 2020 because of the lockdown.
No, I wasn't playing music much already by then, Frankie. I haven't played music much probably since 2016.
Well, do you think maybe being snowed in most of the season could have something to do with that?
No, it has everything to do with being a dad, and
Well, yeah, that too.
you just like I don't go on the road for 3 weeks at a time anymore.
No, that's the shame of it. In Canada, you have to if you want to just maintain yourself and your art. And it's unfortunate there's not enough that we have to drive through the kind of weather we have in this country just to do a gig and get paid not enough for it. Weather keeps you at home. You don't want to drive through, say, Vancouver to Calgary in January or March.
Well, you make a good point, Ron. That I've done that many times and had many trips over those. I played a couple thousand shows.
Oh, yeah.
Many trips that were nerve-wracking and terrifying, or we're going to be late, or you're passing by fatal accidents on the highway, or roads shut down, or just,
I had most of my driving through your mountains sideways.
I saw an accident happen in front of me yesterday, but it was fortunately not. I've seen some tore up cars the past 2 days after the fact, but I saw one happen in front of me yesterday. The icy shoulder, they skidded, bam, right into the interstate wall. Though they weren't going that fast, so they were all right. But it bumped off the wall almost into my car. I was like, hey.
Yeah, were they 4x4s?
4x4s? What do you mean?
They don't stop any better.
Oh,
you find,
four-wheel drive? I don't
They
know.
have this false sense of security because they can grip and propel themselves down the road, but when it comes to braking, not better than any other car. So
Yeah, it's a lot about tires I've learned. This is my first winter driving in the snow, and new tires on this bad boy was clutch. I've been this is a front wheel drive, and I've made it up many steep slopes with the new tires, but before the new tires, well, I'd be sliding backwards.
Well, ideally, you want studded tires in the winter, and you can drive like a Swedish rally driver, but they tear up the pavement.
Yeah, they tear up the pavement, and then also I like having for myself and my passengers having a smooth ride when the roads aren't too bad.
If I have to deal with the hum of studded tires over safety, I'll take an opera of studded tires.
Oh yeah. No, I just am careful where I drive and careful when I drive.
No, that's why you got to keep up on the weather. regardless of where you are.
That's why you have to be
Yep.
prepared.
For
Well,
sure.
you know how important the weather's going to be when it's time for revolution? You got to plan your revolutions around the weather.
Hey, Joey, said Janice from Cape Breton, you look for a radio station, Sydney, Nova Scotia, to play your show.
That would be a
Yes.
great idea.
And I'm completely kidding about the revolution part. I know this is regular radio.
I'm not completely kidding about it. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to save humanity at this point.
This is regular radio, not the television. As they say, the revolution won't be televised. So
That's true.
Well,
Yeah.
information, Generations Z gives me a great hope for the future because they're the first generation completely educated by the computer, by instant access to information. They know so
That's
much
what scares
more
me, though, is
is
it's
there
the no
a sense
attention
of
span
sarcasm there, or
generation.
are you serious?
Their moral sense of right and wrong is astonishing. They're the thing that saved America during this last election with the abortion question being top of the ticket. It was Generation Z, who stepped up and went, all right, this we're going to vote on. And there was no change in Republican voting. There was no change in Democratic voting. The only game was Generation Z. And that generation saved the Republic, and yet they give them no credit. I think they're a generation bound for glory. I think they're the next smart group of people on this planet to take over.
Hey, that's nicely said, actually.
As long as they got some work ethic,
Now,
so,
if y'all
I
get
don't
the
know.
job, we'll be fine.
I see all sorts of.
I don't have work ethic, and I'm a Dutchman. Frankie, how does everyone find you on the internet if they wanted to find Frankie McDonald on the internet somewhere?
My Twitter's at Frankie MacD. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie MacD984. My TikTok is FrankieDown984. My platform is FrankieDown984. My Twitch is FrankieDown984. My Snapchat is FrankieMUCDON. And my LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. And my YouTube channel is Dogs and Wolves. Best luck, I'm Frank Down. You're listening to CoMedeorological report. Joey Oli.
That's right. I'm Joey, the Caribou Weather Dude. If you want to see the live stream of the show, we live broadcast it every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on my YouTube channel, Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude. And we also do the completed version of the show. I upload that on Fridays generally, so you can find all the different quips and quirks and things I add in. So do go to Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude and subscribe. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming on CKUW 95.9 FM. I know all you meteorology students out there in Winnipeg University are addicted to this show. It brings us so much joy. And C for 88.7 FM up in Prince George. We know how much we mean to you environmental students there. And
we
can't
got
wait to be on.
listeners.
Well, yeah, people, that's the thing. We have radio listeners. So that's what we're trying to do, is make a radio show, Pete. That's what we're doing.
I didn't even realize people listen to it though. That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was on iHeartRadio.
Hey Joe, you'll
Hey.
get the radio. You on the radio. You'll talk to radio stations down in the states to get to play your show, like Houston, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, Los Angeles, and all these places.
We should be on every station in the world, Frankie.
I'll get on it. I got some contacts. I'll get on it and try to see. Maybe we can
All
get
right.
syndicated more.
We're gonna hold you to that. I send out the MP3
All right.
on Friday.
I'll at least throw out some contacts. I mean, I'll contact some people that
Well, everyone have
This
a great
week-
night.
This week, the
Am I
special
wrapping
guest.
this up now? Is this a wrap?
Okay, guys, let me do the exits here. This week, our special guest has been comedian Ron Vaudry, who's down in Vancouver. Thanks very much for coming on the show, Ron. And do feel free to come on and join the gang here every Thursday. We love to have more of you.
Oh, yeah,
On
my
that
big
note-
bug. Here I am. Thanks for
On
having
that
me
note-
on. It was nice chat with you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm Joey Only, Caribou Weather Dude. Frankie McDonald, your other host from Sydney, Nova Scotia. Then we also had Janet from Cape Breton Originals. I think this is her 4th time on the show, so really nice to have you on again, Janet, of course. Brandon Houck, our radio weatherman at 105.7 FM in Brooks, Alberta. He's on every week, and we're very thankful for that because he is the weatherman. Imogen Cookie Bailey down in Victoria, Pete Galanko down in Colorado, Hilding down in grassy plains, up in grassy plains, over grassy plains. Depends on where you are, I guess, if he's up, down, or over. I guess that's pretty much the show this week.
Wow.
And order your Frankie McDonald bobblehead cowboy hats. Cowboy hat bobbleheads.
Any last pitches to throw in, people?
Yeah, how about a homeless weather report? Something relevant for homeless populations across the country. When should you start planning to bundle up for the weekend?
Well, we have had that before with Ronnie Grigg
Oh, really?
at
Didn't
homeless
know that.
camps.
I think it's hysterical. And the very
We've had Ronnie Grigg reporting
way.
from homeless camp there in Vancouver on the weather.
There's actually a seasonal migration from east to west for survival in this country every year. They follow the weather like herds of people, and this is the only place in the entire country of Canada where they can live rough outdoors in this weather. It's becoming an oasis for the homeless. Anyways,
That's been the case
show.
for all of Vancouver's existence. I mean, you look down in the 30s and 20s, that was a drunken, rowdy, crazy town, man.
Oh, yeah. You talking about Vancouver or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. It's always been that. It's always been that port town where
Well,
you know,
it
people in the
wasn't
middle
like
of the
beachcombers, but that was the general image.
that was just that's what CBC wanted you to believe.
Yeah, of course.
Any other last pitches?
CBC had probably been trying to direct our perception of ourselves to our faces since they turned on their first TV. Yeah.
Well, you know, I've
funny.
listened to a lot of CBC radio, and I can barely yawn my way through it, most of what's on there these days. So
Oh yeah, it's like I say.
that's why CBC radio should have the CoMedeorological report on it. I guess that's our show for this week, everybody. I'm Joey Only. See you next time.
Yeah, that was
And
Frankie
Frank
left
is
already.
gone.
Yeah. Quick question, Imogen. Do you still have Twitter? Because when I start typing in your name, it doesn't show up anymore.
I am still on Twitter. Yes.
What's your handle? Because I always post this. I'll usually post screenshots. If it saves, my phone might be low on memory. Might not save the screenshots. I don't post
Yeah,
what it
let me
doesn't
just
save.
double check. I've got there's like 4 or 5. I've got like 5 Twitter
Oh, cool.
pages. So just let me find my personal one.
I started
Brian,
typing it in, and I thought it was like Imogen Bailey Cookie or whatever, and it didn't show up the past few weeks. I don't know if Twitter may have like shadow ghosted you on the suggestions. They'll do that to some accounts.
Oh yeah.
Your content may have been too spicy.
Brian Schmidt's
No,
watching us
that's
right now.
that's my
Imogen the
username.
Great. All right, got it.
Yeah, just put that one there. That's my name on there is just Imogen Bailey. Just nice and simple. I kept the cookie out of it because it was getting too many red flags. So I just abbreviated to the one that doesn't sound insane. So
Brian Schmidt's been watching. I don't know why he didn't join us. But you know, the thing is, now we can all say whatever we want about Brian. And he can't defend
Brian, you
himself.
piece of Schmidt. What are you doing?
Piece of Schmidt.
Fucking guy.
turn off my camera, see what you're gonna say about me.
Yeah, Brian, you dick. Why weren't you here? I demand answers. Since you're clearly capable of commenting on YouTube, if you're still
Yeah,
watching,
really.
please explain yourself. State your case.
Just doesn't want to put pants on.
Well, that's okay. To be fair, Brian's OnlyFans is an under desk cam, so he can't really turn it off. He's always got to be Brian.
I should start a Joey Only cams.
That's an option, I guess. Brian would be the only viewer, but still, that would be a nice $8 a month for you.
Yeah, he'd pay more than that.
It's the cost of your pride, Joseph.
I figure if I get $20 a month, that's worth it.
Okay, that means you got 4 solid viewers. Good.
You know, that'd be
Performing
awesome.
for 4 dudes for $20.
20 extra bucks, man.
That's a good
Fucking
business
right.
model. I like it.
I could use 20 fucking extra dollars.
Yes. And there's at least 10 dudes who will pay $2 a piece to see your content.
I bet.
As this conversation continues, Joey's price goes down.
Well, I'm just hoping that the final punchline can be made so I can smoke this.
You can smoke it anytime, man. Hell, smoking on camera will get you those 20 viewers a month for the $1 a piece they're willing to pay.
I'm hungry.
Smoke hard, Joey.
I'm hungry.
Slowly.
It's true though. That's what I need to do next is eat the rest of my supper. Every Thursday I even made food this week and then I didn't eat it. I'm terrible for that.
Okay. So you're terrible for just cooking and not eating your own cooking? Is it that bad that you can't even eat your own damn cooking? What the fuck, Joey?
No, it's a pre-show thing. A pre-show thing.
Your pre-show warm-up is cooking?
No, is I can't sit down and eat.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you can sit down and smoke.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. Skills,
Anyone
man.
else? Anyone else got anything last to say?
Nothing relevant for what's going on here.
Nope, I'm just typing my tweet.
Oh,
Mention the episode.
Oh yeah, I'll go on
Yeah.
Twitter for a change. I haven't been on for since last week. 'Cause I never liked Twitter.
Twitter sucks. It's a horrid platform. I
I
haven't.
always thought so right from the beginning. I have over 1,000 followers now though.
Ooh,
I'm too lazy to update my other platforms. I need to. I'm not too lazy, too busy. I need to get on.
They're mostly fake girls.
that's most of
I-
Twitter is
Yeah.
fake bots, people.
Yeah, she's got 16
Non-entities.
13 followers, 16 followers, 57. So that's a bot that's been around for a while. 48 followers. There's no way you're that beautiful and follow that many people and you only have. So yeah. But hey, right on, bots.
Well, they say that Twitter made a big change in YouTube in the past year since YouTube decided to start posting shorts because of how popular they were on Twitter.
Interesting.
Now, I've had an interesting problem because of that, because YouTube will only give me notifications of people who post shorts.
It was because of TikTok more than Twitter that
Was it
made that
TikTok?
caused them. Yeah, because TikTok gained so much market share on social media. And the irony of it is that years back, about 10 years ago, there was another app website that was called Vine that was pretty much the same thing as TikTok that was just shorts.
Yeah,
And
it's the
Twitter,
predecessor.
the former owners of Twitter bought that and then they shut it down as it was gaining popularity because they wanted people to do shorts on Twitter, which they eventually did, but then TikTok came around that is just shorts, and then they ended up they're now equal market value as Twitter entirely, which is crazy. They should have kept
TikTok is
Vine as
pure
their
fucking garbage.
yeah,
Oh.
but Twitter's previous executives shouldn't have shut down Vine. That was a fatal error on their part. They should have kept Vine open and then and maybe integrated it into Twitter some, but maintained their other platform. And there would probably not be TikTok if they had done that because Vine. I'm old enough to remember when the Vine era was.
You might be the youngest person here, and you're not a child, so yes, you should be old
I'm
enough
30.
to remember
I'm
Vine.
30, and I remember back in the day there'd be the you go on I don't browse the internet as much, but there used to be on World Star Hip Hop Vine compilations, weekly Vine compilations, where it just
Oh,
be
hell
shorts from Vine. And then they shut down Vine, and they continue to do internet clip compilations, but Twitter made a mistake by shutting down Vine. They should have continued to maintain ownership of that. They own a lot of other companies. They've acquired a lot of companies, but they shut it down as a competitor. But I think they should have kept it. And now I believe what's it called, owns TikTok, but they're a powerhouse over in Asia. Anyway, it be what it be.
Well, I think that YouTube right now ought to set up their shorts section. That's fine. But they also need to keep up what they've had with their long videos, not try to close down all the long videos in order to promote the short ones. That doesn't make sense. And that's what YouTube is doing. Like, I had like 7 or 8 subscriptions on YouTube that I watched like a video a week, and suddenly YouTube doesn't notify me when they post new videos anymore because they aren't posting shorts.
Do you know about ringing the bell?
Yeah, that's a problem I have. Because if
You
I
gotta hit
ring
that
the bell,
Hit that little bell on those channels, and it'll come up in your feed more.
but it also makes a ding dong in your computer, which is awfully annoying.
I don't know. I always have things ding donging around. Different apps and different.
But what's the use
Well-
of having a subscription if it doesn't allow you, if it doesn't give you perks on that guy's account? You know what I mean?
I see all the ones I subscribe to a lot. But I watch a fair bit of YouTube.
Guys who have stuck to old ones and have never posted a short, I still get their notifications, no problem. But the ones that have, if anybody has posted one short, I don't get notified of any other videos except their shorts.
Shorts are just terrible. You
It's
know,
a little bit confusing to me, the way the shorts work on YouTube, because it's like, it's YouTube. You could post short videos on your regular YouTube channel, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think there should be 2 different separate channels that you have, one for shorts and one for regulars. That's
That
what
makes
I
sense to me. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Anyway, I gotta, it is 9:13 p.m. I'm gonna put in a few more hours of driving, and
Yeah,
I
it's
got
about-
some stuff I gotta handle tomorrow, so I
just
got
about
to go.
plug it off. The whole shorts thing, it's like let's find what little attention span is left and just stomp it into the ground.
Mhm.
And at the same time, we'll make TikTok stars out of people who basically have, all they are is a phone and selfies.
Yeah.
And it's 20 seconds of them. And it sort of goes back to what Ron was talking about earlier about comedy getting watered down.
Yeah.
And music
Musicians getting watered down. Yeah.
Right. And even weather getting watered down by people like us. Thanks to everybody for watching. And I'll see what I can do to make an episode out of our bizarre show.
Bizarre or disjointed? Rambling.
Well, you know what
We're
happens is
putting reality where it needs to be.
what I do is when those disjointed things come and go, that's when I throw the extra clips that I get from people in, right?
Sure.
Which I don't have a lot of clips this week from. But if I don't have a lot of clips from any of you, then I go and take whatever Frankie's saying this week.
Yeah, that works. Frankie, content is relevant.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm gonna eat my chimichangas and
Yeah, you have a good one.
thanks,
Brandon, are you
everyone.
taking a selfie?
Oh, I'm looking at something on the phone.
Okay, that makes that the way you were sitting and hiding behind your phone, like holding it so close to your face, makes it just so much more suspect. What are you looking at, Brandon?
That and a
Nothing.
cute grin.
Nothing. Looking at
Why
pictures
pink, Brandon?
that Pete posted. Yeah, he posted those photos on the Twitter.
I wouldn't have guessed Pete was your type,
No, these are
but you've got a little more
pictures of
interesting.
us on the show.
There we go. I
As
see
he
it now
quickly
too.
changes it
Right
to
there.
something relevant.
I'm gonna
Look at
like
that.
and
Ooh, there we are.
share. Retweet.
Awesome. Nice save there, Brandon. Nice save. All right.
Yeah.
I'm out. See y'all next time.
Have
All
a
right,
good
see you
one.
next time, Imogen. Bye, everybody.
Next week.
See you, Hilding. See you,
Bye-bye.
Brandon.